Hello. So this is one of my college resources that I have to do for homework again. This one is gambling addiction. Seeking certainty when relationship is the risk. Liz Carter. This is from the book Addictions from an Attachment Perspective. Do broken bonds and early trauma lead to addictive behaviors? So, this group is not like Gamblers Anonymous. This group is scarier. It's like family. Carla, age 49, a slot machine player. Her statement is that is which what it for what that is what it was made solely with a depth of meaning and feeling by a woman with a long-term history of cross addiction, beginning with alcohol, moving on through crack cocaine, moving on to addiction to slot machine playing. To this woman, as to many men and women, by far the hardest addiction to overcome is that of gambling addiction. Excuse me. For the women I speak of, her pattern of addiction lasting over 25 years, becoming ultimately so destructive, it resulted in 5 of her 11 children being taken into care. Wow. Okay. I just had to highlight it real quick. So if we are honest with ourselves, what do we see when we visualize this woman, Carla? Perhaps we see a chaotic and irresponsible woman who certainly is old enough to know better. What I came to see as both Carla's one-to-one and women's groups therapist was a frightened child around 11 years old who just happened to be in the body of an adult woman. Carla never knew her father and was abandoned by her mother at an age of 11 when she left her to be cared for by her grandmother in her home country of Jamaica. Promising she would return, she never did. Her uncle at times would be put in charge of taking care of her whilst her grandmother worked. He would take care of her, the cellar, and take her to the cellar and sexually abuse her. Everything Carla had done from that time on made sense if seen through this perspective of the mind of a desperate, lonely, and scared little girl that she was. She imagined having 11 children would guarantee that she would never experience the insufferable pain and fear of loneliness again. But without the associated risk of adult interaction and relationship, the crack cocaine was used as self-medication, helping to transcend the impossibility difficulty world that she did not know she was creating by having such a large family. It blocked out the memories of flashbacks of her traumatic experience of childhood sexual abuse. Similarly, compulsively pushing money into a slot machine, staring at a computer screen whilst she gambled, was a desperate attempt to numb her pain. To work with people who have a gambling addiction, it is vital to understand that gambling addiction is not about the money. Winning lots of money, getting rich quick, or both born out of greed or being naive about the odds of winning. The money doesn't matter. All that matters is to buy completely absorption in the gambling activity, and so play yourself away from the world that feels so scary, too scary, too painful, too risky to inhabit. Often the biggest risk of all of the women with gambling addiction is being in an intimate relationship. The findings of my extensive clinical practice in the area of gambling addiction since 2001 have been that gambling addiction for women is a survival strategy, a coping mechanism, an attempt to manage one's problems by suppressing feelings. Over the last 7 years in which I've been a women's group therapist, I have found 84% of women who have attended women's group meeting for gambling addiction have been the survivors of child abuse or domestic violence. 74% of women who have attended women's groups during that time live alone or alone with children. This makes complete sense to me, that the above statistics should reflect each other so clearly. The experience of abuse in childhood, whether it has been sexual, psychological, or emotional abuse, or neglect, has all the same impact, that the deepest wound is to the woman's ability to trust in another person. She is unlikely to form healthy attachments, and so the woman I see for gambling treatment is frequently isolated, lonely, anxious. Gambling is to her so often a replacement for the longed for but deeply feared intimate relationship. The effect of child abuse trauma is so often that development is frozen at the time at which the place took place. I see so often grown women who are perhaps mothers or even high-flying professionals who inwardly, psychologically, and emotionally remain childlike and unable to cope well with either their inner world of troubling thoughts and feelings or the demands and practicalities of the outer world. Both her relationship with herself and with others is undeveloped and unsatisfying. She turns to gambling when she might otherwise turn to a friend or partner to soothe her. Perhaps what is unique to gambling addiction is that there are physical objects to attach to. A woman who is addicted to the slot machine playing might attach to a favorite machine, viewing it as hers, or becoming greatly distressed if another person plays her machine in her presence. The object is closely associated with soothing and emotional support in a way that an okay mother might have in childhood. Indeed, gambling might even be seen as a yearn for source of childhood memories or for pleasant times. Engaging women in treatment for gambling addiction and maintaining the engagement is notoriously hard, and often the reason lies in the fact that therapeutic treatment involves committing to letting go of gambling and to engage in an intimate relationship with another person in the form of a therapist, to separate from something that has caused her pain and destruction, but which feels paradoxically she can depend on, and take a perceived risk of attaching to someone who might help and support her. This feels terrifying to her. Sorry about that, my cat's in the background. They're playing. If you can see him past the chair there. Anyway, as a group therapist for the last 7 years, I've seen in action powerful transferences towards myself as group therapist to other members of the group. Any group experience, as we know, replicates our earliest group experience, and of course that of our family. I have frequently found that regardless of the level of abuse or betrayal experience involving the father, a seemingly lesser betrayal by a mother impacts on a deeper, more lasting level. In order to let go of gambling, we have seen how it is essential that a woman allows herself to form relationships with others. What she often fears from closeness is not only further abusive treatment, if this lies buried in her past deep beneath her gambling behavior, but that she also fears becoming close and then the pain of rejection and or abandonment. I feel like this is why a lot of people who have borderline personality disorder have an addiction as well, because of the fact that they don't have to, like, with people, they have to fear abandonment. That machine's going to be there for them. Alright, so I think that's actually it for this chapter. Thanks for watching.